And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that short break, the brutal OST, and of course spying on the players as well, as we have returned with our third match of the night, with round number 2 of the group stage. We're now getting into the thick of things here with some of these bigger names facing off against each other. Up next, Dolan versus Starkiller. And if you're in the chat, predictions are now open. Bam, place your bets on who you think will take the series. Best of luck. As a reminder, this is a bet, this is a prediction for the entire best of 3, not just the first game. As spawning in the top left-hand corner, they're similar colors. Let's go. In the top left-hand corner, we have the blue Terran player representing the Cranky Ducklings. Struggling a little bit in that last series. We'll see if he can look a little bit stronger here in round number 2. It is Dolan. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the American Zerg player, the returning veteran of the scene, representing Matcherino Esports. It is Starkiller. Going for a 15-15. 15 hatchery into the 15 spawning pool. Very similar to what we saw previously. At the same time, Dolan also going for a 2-axe Reaper. I'm getting deja vu. I'm getting deja vu at this point. Dolan going for a much more aggressive start here with 2-axe Reaper. Meanwhile, Starkiller opening up safely with a 15-15. Just to reiterate on the last series, the way this works is the Starkiller is going to be delaying his gases in favor of earlier queens, earlier lings as well, and I imagine building up and working towards roach production. Should be building up, working towards roaches, but we'll see if that's going to be the case here. We'll see if Starkiller does spice things up even further. As opposed to too tall earlier, we are indeed going for an earlier gas geyser. Okay. My eyes are on Starkiller. We'll see what this gas is going to be used for, whether we embrace link speed or if we rush into earlier roaches. Starkiller is known for aggression. Winding it back a little bit, Starkiller does have a reputation of being hyper-aggressive, being very cheesy as well. And I'm sure Dolan is familiar and Dolan is aware. Oh, hello, as this is not 2-axe Reaper. Okay, interesting. It's gonna be 2-axe Marine here out of Dolan. With our first 2 Marines, we will hunt down the first Overlord. It is racing towards that pillar. And can we get there in time? Up! It looks like we cannot. The Overlord will go down. That will supply block Starkiller. Nice pick off here from Dolan. And we're building up towards a bio push, I imagine, towards a larger Marine count, still hunting down more Overlords, moving out a little bit earlier. Likewise, because of the 15-15, we do have initial links moving out, but last Marines will come across them. Yeah, we barely do catch them. Links have to race back, and Starkiller, I was curious. If you remember, I was wondering what the gas is going to be used for. It is not roaches, not link speed. We're rushing into a very fast lair. Oh my god. Okay. And roaches, of course, as well. So we have a roach warren here on the low ground. We have our lair already almost halfway done. Dolan has arrived to deny the 3rd base, but we spoke about this previously about how this map is a little bit more conducive to 2-base play because of the ramp, because of the high ground, because of how defensive your natural is. 2-base play is seen a little bit more commonly on site delta, and that's what we're seeing here from Starkiller. That's what we are embracing. Let's go. As behind this, we do have Stim on the way, building up towards, once again, 4-axe, building up towards a 4-axe on 2 bases. Big delay on the 3rd CC, delay of course on the factory and on the starport, and this is gonna hit like a truck. A very strong Stim timing coming out from Dolan. If this was 2-base Muta, I would be concerned quite heavily here for Starkiller. Thankfully, 2-base roaches are already on the way. I'm gonna be concerned though if Starkiller builds up towards a push, as we are already making roaches very early on. Starkiller cutting drones very early here, not even a 2-base saturation. Just on 2 gases, building up those roaches. And I think I want to favor Dolan here in this scenario, where Starkiller is building up towards what looks to be an all-in, essentially. We're building up towards a roach timing towards a big all-in. The bio army is spotted. Now, I was going to favor the defender, and I was assuming that Starkiller was going to be the first to move out, but my apologies, it's going to be Dolan instead. Dolan is pushing, and Starkiller will have an abundance of roaches to work with. We should be able to hold on. I do now favor Starkiller in this next fight, but we'll see. We'll see how this all comes to pass. That's still a lot of Marines. But we do push up the ramp. Roaches are in position. Yeah, we have the concave. And we do force the defensive stim. As Dolan has to race back. Bleeding out too much. Roach speed is done. And we can chase down the Marines. Yeah, we can chase them down. Stim has run out. We force a second stim as well. Oof, brutal. So much damage being done as Dolan is racing back to the high ground. Marauders are on the way. And we need as many Marauders as possible. As Dolan is now in trouble. And no bunker either. Aye. No bunkers. Without bunkers, can we hold on? It's going to be close. It's going to be close here as the Roaches they try to push up the ramp, but last Marauders have arrived just in time. We do pick up a depot. Depot does fall. Does make up for the earlier loss to Overlord. And we do go concussive shell. Stim is done, so is combat shields. Not concussive shell though. Big delay. Is going to be not quite restarted in the main. Not quite, as Dolan does hold, does survive, and Dolan is building up towards a third CC, towards tank production. The game will progress. Likewise, Starkiller back at home is droning. Is droning up, saturating his third, taking gases, and we're building up towards the mid-game. As the dust does settle, I do favor Starkiller just because of our economy, just because our third base is getting fully saturated. Dolan still has a ways to go to get his third base up and running. Now, there is going to be potential for Dolan to catch up, specifically with medevacs. With our medevac production, we can be active with drop play. We saw how well Dolan was able to just pull two tall apart earlier in the previous ZvT on this map, and we'll see if we can do the same to Starkiller. As the bio army is moving out, and the goal here should be to get some economic damage done, to out-trade Starkiller even, to be more efficient, and to try to recover. Starkiller does take the fourth at the triangular third location. If Dolan was aware, he could deny this. For now, does stim in. Going for the dive. But Roaches, they have time to respond. And they do collapse on the army. Drones are going down, though. Yeah, we got 6 drone kills. We target fire even more. 9 drone kills. It's going to cost us a lot of the bio. But that's going to be, oh my, 15! 15 workers go down basically the entire mineral line. Dolan does evacuate, does escape with most of his bio. Looking at the trades here, that was 10 Marines, 3 Marauders for 15 drones, but that will trigger a counterattack. Meanwhile, Dolan diving back in, back at home. He's got tank production, he has Marauders, he's safe and sound. Oh, and he's gonna get even more done. Oh my god. We catch the Queen, 4 more drones. Starkiller being pulled apart, and there's no anti-air. There's no anti-air. There's nothing to shut down these medevacs. Queen does rotate over, and now we're not done. Moving out with another double drop. And because Dolan has yet to take the third base, he's not exposed, right? He's not spread thin. He's safe and sound on 2 bases, and can keep dropping. Now, eventually, Dolan will need to expand, and with that, he will now move out and expose himself and be spread thin between 3 bases. With that, Starkiller could try to punish this. Could with a counterattack. Until then, though, Dolan is in control. We catch a Roach. Going for the Queen, won't quite get it. At the same time, Dolan does hit the third, and we are out of position. Starkiller! Not where he needs to be. Not where he needs to be. 4 more drones go down. Aye. Dolan still being active. Oh, the biles! They barely don't connect. So we even have a Liberator. Thankfully, Ravagers will deal with this. They force the on siege. Third base not being taken. No saturation yet here for Dolan. You can see he's actually banking resources. His macro is slipping. As Dolan is supply blocked. Thankfully, trading out some units. But it looks like Starkiller, he's had enough. Yeah, Starkiller, he's had enough. He wants to break out. Dolan has 1,000 minerals in the back. We're still supply blocked. Dolan, with this supply block, this push may end the game. Straight up, Starkiller may just have too much. Third base is gonna be shut down. Dolan, we need to make some units, Bobby. Aye. Boys are gonna be fallen. boys are going to be falling. Tanks are seized, but tanks are exposed. And Starkiller is going for the kill, going for the throat. And again, if it wasn't for the supply block, Dolan may have had enough. But he's losing every single tank. There's one tank left. And the natural base has been broken. And Baal's going to be connecting. The one tank still barely standing strong. And this is already game-ending damage, though. The army does race back home. Baal's going to be connecting. And Starkiller is going to be cleaned up, but he gets 41 SCVs. And even though Starkiller was losing drones earlier, we still have an economic lead. We still have 52 workers. Starkiller still looking strong. Dolan is forced to heavily mule. And taking a bit of a step back here, I still want to favor Starkiller. He has the better economy, has the higher worker count. We have 2-2 on the way. Able to rebuild and replace what we just lost. Can Dolan bounce back? I mean, that is a lot of mules. Oh my god. Okay, never mind, we're okay. I mean, look at the economies here. It is now swinging back in favor of Dolan. And we do have some depots in production as well. Thankfully, we're breaking out of the supply block eventually. Can Dolan recover? Things looking a little bit bleak here for the Terran. A lot of pressure on him to get damage done with these drops. Moving out once again. Drop is spotted. And we have our Traveler in position. Dolan does zoom towards the main, but alas, we have roaches in position. Yeah, Starkiller's got an army in every single base. He's ready for the drops this time. Dolan is moving out though with 4 tanks, has potential with this army. Again, he's very Marauder heavy. And he may be able to bring down the 4th. You know, Starkiller, he is defending all bases, that is true, but he's spread thin. He's got supplies stuck in the main, stuck at the 3rd, and stuck at the 4th, and it looks like we're going for a counterattack. As Starkiller moves out, Dolan moves in. And do we commit to the base trade? Yeah, we stim one forward. Reinforcements are called out. We do catch 2 tanks. Massive pickoffs. And we're committed. At this point, does Dolan turn around? Oh, he thinks about it. He does think about it. He's going to commit. Here we go. Roach as they push towards the natural. Likewise, Dolan pushing into the natural as well. Remember, Dolan can lift. Well, we got to keep going. Send it, Bobby. Send it. As we set off the army, tanks are headed towards the 3rd base. Marauders towards the natural. Boys are being pulled. There is a Roach army. And meanwhile, across the map, we see Starkiller camping the production. Denying anything out of the Raxes. Out of the factories. But it looks like Dolan may just have too much. He's shutting everything down. Nothing left at the natural. The main base is still standing strong here, but only for so long. Starkiller does evacuate, though. He escapes. Oh. He escaped with 4 drones, and hatcheries are on the way. At the same time, some buildings are lifting. Only some, though. The CC's going to fall. Massive pickup. 3rd base does go down. A lot of chaos is ensuing. The main base and the natural will survive, though. But again, we have bases out on the map. We have buildings. And Dolan just, yeah, trying to go for the elimination. Dives into the main. Oh, I just realized we didn't have link speed. Link speed is denied. And in a head-to-head fight, oh, do I favor Starkiller here? I may. 25 roaches for Starkiller. Now his army is split up, true. The army is split. Dolan is looking for expansions, looking for bases. He has found that hatchery. He is aware. Meanwhile, there's still gas geysers left over. There's gases here at the natural, gases at the 3rd. Dolan getting in position. He's going for the expansion. Starkiller is in position as well, ready to defend. Dolan bringing everything together. Oh, a big tank volley is going off. Not bad. Yeah, Dolan trying to force a fight within tank range. It does kite back. Tank shots once again, and Dolan is out trading Starkiller. Now reinforcements have arrived. But against Starkiller, he had so much just out of position, and it looks like Dolan, he has enough. GG gets caught. He cleans up the Roaches, cleans up the Ravagers, and Dolan will take the game. GG. Oh my god. GG, well played. Went down to the wire, went down to the base trade of all things. And Dolan does take a lead in the series, but that could have gone either way. Again, I was concerned that Dolan was losing too much. I was concerned that Starkiller had too much of an army to work with, and that in a head-to-head fight, it would go in favor of Starkiller, but thankfully for Dolan, he was able to fight within range of his tanks, and Starkiller initially didn't have his entire army together. He was split up, he was pulled apart, and yeah, Dolan able to take advantage of Starkiller towards the end there. GG. GG, well played. Whew. We have a lead for Dolan, but now we're getting into game number 2. Let's go. Let us go. Oh my god. As that was a bit of a roller coaster ride of emotions. Not gonna lie. We had some ups, we had some downs. Dolan was popping off with his drop play, but then he got supply blocked, insanely supply blocked, and in the aftermath of that, Starkiller likewise had the superior economy, but it all came down to the base trade in the end. And we'll see how this story ends here. We'll see if we can get an ace match, or if it ends in favor of the Terran, as we're loading into game 2 on Alcyone. Let's go. Spam this truck for Dolan, the duck. Let's go. I think we have some other copy passes for Dolan. I can't remember. I can't remember if that's the only one. But back in the day when we had our pro team being a little bit more active, we used to have copy passes for all of our players. But here we go. We're getting into game 2, and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Alcyone, we have our American Terran player, the blue Terran, representing the Cranky Ducklings. It is Dolan. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the teal Zerg player, representing Matcherino Esports, making his return here to the competitive scene. It is Starkiller. Down in this series, but looking to force that ace match. Personally, I would love to see a game 3. We'll see if we get that lucky here as Starkiller. Where are we headed? Okay, Starkiller starting off with a proxy hatch. Initially, though, we do come across the 2-ranks Reaper here of Dolan. SCV's under fire. Another SCV comes down, and Starkiller is going for a pull first back at home. And we'll expand. Okay. No proxy hatch. A bit of an odd move. It is not common to... Oh, so we can go for the gas deal. Let's go. Gas is being taken. Love to see it. But not common to go for a drone scout like this. I'm pretty sure if there was no low ground setup here for Dolan, Starkiller would have gone for the proxy hatchery. But upon seeing the setup, Starkiller will instead go for the gas deal. Will do what he can with the drone. And set up back at home. As the gas does complete, Reapers are on the way. Now, this was a pull first opener out of our Zerg player, and with this we have a faster queen, but this wasn't a 15-15. The hatchery is a little bit later here for Starkiller. I do actually like Dolan's position a little bit more. We'll see what Dolan can get done. We'll see if he can, for how long he can delay the expansion and contain Starkiller to 2 bases. We shall see as the first Reaper is moving out. Again, as a reminder, the goal here of this Reaper aggression is to contain. The Zerg player, deny the 3rd base for as long as we can, and maybe even catch some drones. As the Reaper is a bit adventurous, taking a lot of hits. Does rotate back around. Second Reaper moving out. It is going to be how many? Yeah, just 3 Reapers. 3 Reapers for Dolan, and it looks like the same build. 2-axe Reaper into a 4-axe follow-up. We saw the same build in the previous game on Site Delta. or something very similar. If you remember on side Delta, Dolan went Marine first, not Reaper. But did lead into the same follow-up. As Marine's going to be amassing, and Stim will be on the way. Reapers, they dive into the main, getting a full scout. Boys are being pulled, they do block them off. There we go for the full surround. Nice catch here from Starkiller. One Reaper barely does not escape. Oh, and that was a brutal loss. That was 3 Reapers for 2 drones. Not worth it for Dolan. Yeah, did overextend, was a little bit too cavalier there, and was punished. And now what are we going for? Double Evo Chamber? What? Okay. No early Roach War, no early Lair. We're going for early upgrades, followed by the Lair. Interesting. I was curious. We did take us an early second gas. Dolan did confirm. Looking at the vision, he saw the second gas, guys, which is why Dolan reacted and responded with a bunker. Dolan expecting some Roach aggression. That's why we also started Marauder production as well. So Dolan is expecting Roaches, and Roaches, they're coming, but a little bit later here. As the Roach Warren is thrown down behind the natural base. And 1-1 is on the way. So this is going to be a very interesting timing. It's going to be a very strong 1-1 Roach speed timing here for Starkiller. But can we get there? Because the reality is, Stim is going to hit first. This bio push should hit first here from the side of the Terran. Gas guys is being cleaned up. And we'll see how this all turns out. It's a very peculiar setup here, and yeah, I'm curious how many Roaches Starkiller will have in time for the first push. Roaches are amassing. Starkiller, he's on 2-base saturation. No third yet. 1-1 is still a ways off. We're almost halfway done. But I guess because we have fully saturated on 2 bases, we're just making nothing but Roaches. Which means we should be okay for that bio push. As Dolan is about to move out. Now we do have a couple of Marauders incorporated, which will help when it comes to the Roaches. But we're going to have so many of them. We have 6 so far, but we have 9 more on the way. Yeah, 15 Roaches, 2 Queens, potentially even 3 Queens. See how much damage Dolan can get done. As he's moving out, if we're not fast enough, we could even get a kill on the 3rd. Yeah, there we go, force a cancel. 3rd base is denied. So far, so good. Dolan backs up. I mean, basically, he just saw a 2-base all in. Like, he confirms the lack of 3rd base. We're done. We can retreat from here. Roaches are spotted. Dolan doesn't take the bait. 1-1 is done. 2-2 now starting up. Roach is still being active. Dolan does catch a couple of free Roaches. Bit of a missed rally there by Starkiller. Starkiller consolidating his army, bringing everything together. Dolan does confirm. Late reaction though. Dolan, yeah, does react a little bit too late. Alas, he will stand strong. Does go for the fight, but bleeds out the Marauder. Yeah, both Marauders go down. Dolan has to get the hell out of here. Does have the tank on the high ground. Yeah, we'll hold on. Yeah, catching extra Roaches. Not a bad trade by Dolan. Shaving off Roaches, pulling back. 3rd CC not yet on the way for the Terran. There we go. 3rd CC now starting up. And so far, again, it's been quite nice for Dolan. Looking at the trades, 14 Roaches for 17 Marines and 4 Marauders. This is going to be a little bit more ideal for Dolan, gas-wise. Now we're rotating around. The Overlord does confirm the army positioning. Starkiller getting ready. We have Ravagers. Oh, the supply block is brutal. That's 5 Overlords on the way for Starkiller. And the supply block is hurting so much here. And the tanks are getting within range. The Overlord's going to be going up. Up! Oh, nice hard pickup. Oh my god, Dolan! Calm down. Does save the tanks. And we'll race back home. Speaking of, we only have the 1 extra tank. Dolan is setting up. Starkiller rotating around, heading towards that third. More Ravagers morphing in. 2-2 is about to finish up. Starkiller hitting his 2-2 timing. But Starkiller has barely been droning. We're still on 43 drones. I'm a little bit in shock here. But barely any saturation at a Starkiller. He's essentially 2-base all in. Has a third hatchery just for larva, essentially. And we're gaining ground. Pushing forward, but the tanks are sieged up. And we just cannot break this tank line. The roaches are falling. Ravagers are exposed. We do bow down the CC. Oh my god, almost goes down, but not quite. Not enough. And once again, Dolan pulling back to the tanks. SCVs are starting to fall, but the main army for Starkiller, it's crumbling. A big overextension. Roaches, Ravagers, we get completely cleaned up, and Starkiller has no economy behind this. Again, here, we're not saturated in the main. We barely have any workers here at the third. 43 drones for the Zerg player. We just cannot keep up. Not in a longer game. And Dolan has expanded. He establishes his third base. Drops the moving out. Not too much in these drops, thankfully, for Starkiller. But Starkiller, he needs time. He needs time to drone up. He needs time to recover. We've got a lot of catching up to do. As that's a kill, not a cancel. That's a kill in the expansion. Dolan dropping into the main. The hot pick up there at a Dolan. Nice control, nice micro. Saving all the units. Dropping towards the left-hand side, just distracting Starkiller. Containing onto 3 bases. And behind this, Dolan is just macroing up. Investing into more tanks, second factory. Armory's on the way for 2-2. What I will say is that the big advantage that Starkiller has is the upgrades. Right, 2-2 is pretty nice to work with. But outside of that, we even have a hive on the way. Just very tech heavy. Working towards the hive, just now droning up on 3 bases. Getting up to 64 workers. But here comes the move out. Here comes the push from Dolan. And Starkiller this entire time has been droning, and he's not ready for this. He's not ready to go toe-to-toe with this kind of army. Starkiller, he's got 5 Ravagers, 14 Roaches, a handful of Lings, no Banelings. Ling speed just finished. Dolan, he has arrived with a massive army. We deny the 4th base once again. And this is going to be a tough hold for the Zerg. Dolan pushing forward. Leapfrogging forward even with those tanks. Lings, they dive in. And we do take down the first 2 tanks. Not bad. What about the Bio? What about the Marines and the Marauders? Tanks are falling, but yeah, we just stim and we just win. The Roaches, the Ravagers, they all go down. And we just cannot handle the Bio army here of Dolan. Not anymore. As Starkiller, he was just outscaled. Again, he was just not set up for a longer game. He was completely all in earlier. And for him to fail to break the third and to fail to kill Dolan, I mean, that was game then and there. Reinforcements are on the way. But there's so many medevacs. There's like 1 medevac for each Marauder. And the Marauders are not going to go down. Okay, there's only 2 Ravagers left. We're down to 1 Ravager. Reinforcements trickling in, but GG gets called, and Dolan will take the series 2-0. Advancing on and looking strong here in the group stage. GG. GG, well played. Dolan will take the series, but this was still a very close series. Game 2 was a little bit more in favor of Dolan, is what I will say, but game number 1 was so close. Game 1 was very back and forth. It went down to the wire, went down to a base trade of all things. It was a very, very close game 1. Game 2, Dolan a little bit more, you know, secure and maybe even just warmed up after those previous games. But we could have definitely seen an ace match between these 2 players. GG. GG, well played. Predictions are paid out in the chat, and we can now take a moment here to have a look at the rest of round 2. Do we have any updates?